After losing a game of truth or dare, I kissed my longtime crush and somehow gained the ability to read minds. Now he sat silently in the corner, expression blank, but I could hear a voice in my head loud and clear. Her lips are so soft. I need to find a way to get her to kiss me again. My crush and I were at a party. I lost another round and had to pick a dare. Eyes shut, I drew a card. The moment I pulled it out, the whole room erupted in noise. Isabel's laugh boomed beside me, shaking the walls. My hand trembled around the card. She only laughed like that when something was seriously embarrassing. Ha 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 ha! Oh my God, come on, open your eyes already. Isabel smacked my shoulder. Bracing myself for death, I opened my eyes. My hand shook even harder when I read the card. Make out with the person next to you. There were only two people beside me, Isabel and my crush. Luke hadn't been sitting next to me originally, but he'd complained about the cigarette smoke and swapped seats. Now he was right beside me. The room roared with laughter, Isabel the loudest of all. She crossed her arms and warned me. Let's be clear, you're not kissing me. Girl on girls, off the table. Instantly, all eyes turned to Luke. The crowd's teasing grew louder. I stared at Luke, frozen, clutching the card in my sweaty palm. He sat still, quiet in the dim light. I couldn't make out his expression. We'd barely spoken since we met, let alone kissed. Do it! This is your chance! Isabel hissed in my ear. I wanted to, but how could I dare? Luke seemed to finally sense the shift in the noise. He looked up slowly, eyes falling on the card. His face stayed unreadable. I chickened out. Or maybe let's not. I'm fine with it, he interrupted before I could finish. He met my gaze, calm as ever. I don't mind. The cheering exploded. Isabel let out the most unhinged laugh I'd ever heard. I inched toward Luke, heart pounding faster with every inch. The moment our lips touched, his Adam's apple bobbed. Luke's lips were warm, soft. There had been chatter on the campus confessions page about how kissable his lips looked. And now I knew the rumors were true. I was so nervous. I thought I was imagining it. But I could have sworn I felt the corners of his mouth lift. Was he smiling? My heart raced even faster. Damn, this was intoxicating. I didn't dare go in for a full makeout, just barely brushed my lips against his before pulling back fast and bumping into Isabel. That's it? Isabel gaped at me, snatching the card from my hand. Where's the makeout part? That's enough, okay? My face burned. I couldn't even look up. Isabel sighed dramatically, clearly disappointed. A few moments later, I finally composed myself only to realize Luke was gone. He'd moved all the way to the end of the booth. I stared at him, sitting silently in the corner, nerves twisting in my gut. Why was he suddenly so far away? His face looked off. What was he thinking? Did he regret it? Was I a total buzzkill? Did he hate me now? My mind spiraled, and then I heard it again. A familiar voice. She kissed me. Wait, that was Luke's voice. I looked toward the sound. Luke sat at the end, quiet and motionless. Was I hallucinating? I squinted at his unreadable expression, and then heard it again. Even clearer this time. Her lips are so soft. He blinked slowly. Gotta find a way to get her to kiss me again. What? I stood there frozen, reeling. Isabel finished a new round and tapped me on the shoulder. What's up? Grinning like an idiot. Did you hear what Luke just said? I asked, carefully. Luke? Isabel frowned, glancing over. He hasn't said a word all night. Jenny, are you drunk? Just stay here and sober up, okay? She ruffled my hair before getting dragged back into the game. I sat there doubting my own sanity. That couldn't have been my imagination. It was way too real. Just as I was deep in thought, another wave of hooting broke out. Make room. My boy Luke's joining in. I watched as the guys beside me scooted over, clearing a space. Luke stood up from the corner and sat back down right next to me. My heart thudded. All I could think about was what I'd heard. Gotta find a way to get her to kiss me again. The game kicked off again, and unbelievably, Luke kept losing. He downed several shots. Even his best friend looked puzzled. Since when do you suck this bad? Luke's expression was calm. Just bad luck. Keep going. Another round, another loss. But this time, instead of drinking, his gaze fell on the cards. His friend caught on instantly and tossed the deck on the table. Let's see what Luke picks. Hope it's a dirty dance, dare. Luke stayed calm, staring down at the cards as if debating which to choose. Then, I heard his voice again inside my head. Pick the one with the fold in the corner. I followed his gaze. A fold? Which one? Luke didn't move. His friend nudged him. Come on, pick already. Luke's eyes swept across the cards, then stopped on one. His shoulders relaxed slightly as he pointed to it. Tone casual. This one. His friend flipped the card and burst out laughing. Oh boy, you're not gonna believe this. He waved it around, teasing. Guess what it says? Isabel snapped. Just spit it out already. This card! This card! She growled, rolling up her sleeves. Say it, or I'm gonna deck you. After taking a few playful punches, he finally laid the card flat. He looked between me and Luke, smirking as he revealed the card. I leaned in and froze. What were the odds? It was the exact same card I'd drawn earlier. The bold words practically screamed at me, "Make out with the person next to you." My eyes locked on the faint crease at the corner of the card. My heart skyrocketed. Luke's friend nudged him with an odd look. That's some crazy coincidence, huh? Yeah, pretty crazy, Luke said calmly, glancing at the card and nodding. Then he looked up straight at me. My heart went into overdrive. His eyes were dark, locking onto mine in the dim light. After a few seconds, he asked softly, "Is that okay?" My mind blanked. Okay? What? Was he asking what I thought he was? Isabel covered her mouth, eyes darting between us. Then she burst into wild laughter and smacked my head. Of course it's okay. No problem at all, she announced. We're law-abiding citizens who always follow the rules of the game. Luke glanced at her, then turned back to me, silently waiting for my response. As the silence stretched, he added calmly, I didn't mind earlier. The implication was clear. I played along with you. Now it's your turn to return the favor. No, I didn't get to finish. Someone shoved my shoulder, and I stumbled right into Luke. Panicking, I felt a pair of hands catch me. The next second, my lips met his again. I looked up, locking eyes with Luke's. His long lashes fluttered slightly, and then the corners of his eyes curved gently. Oh God, I'd kissed my crush twice in one night. My heart was thundering. Most of the alcohol had evaporated from my system, and I was burning up like a furnace. I pulled away from Luke and bolted to the bathroom. One more second and I would have self-combusted. The cold water on my hands helped a little, but nothing could cool the heat on my lips. The sensation lingered Luke's lips, his smile. No, stop thinking. I cooled off in the bathroom for what felt like a century. When I returned, I caught the tail end of a conversation between Luke and his buddy. Benjamin eyed Luke suspiciously. Why do I feel like you've been smiling since earlier? Luke looked up. Was I? You were, Benjamin insisted, then smirked. Since you lost that last round. He waited for Luke to deny it. Luke replied without even blinking. Guess I was. Benjamin. All the calm I'd regained in the bathroom vanished. I took a deep breath and found a corner to sit and reset. The room was buzzing but mellowing out. Everyone was tired, lounging on the couches and chatting lazily. Then I heard Luke's voice again in my head. Need a reason to get closer. She's sitting too far away. What? I sneaked a glance at Luke, who seemed deep in thought. As he stared off, his gaze landed on Benjamin. Benjamin was still lost in his own existential crisis when Luke suddenly patted him. Why don't you smoke, Benjamin? Why would I? Luke paused. You look cool when you do. Haha, that's right, I do. Benjamin grinned and pulled out a cigarette. Just as he lit it, Luke coughed. Not too loud, but enough for everyone to hear. Then he stood up and walked away. Benjamin froze mid-puff. Dude, what the hell? Luke said calmly. Can't stand the smoke. Gotta move. With a blank face, he walked across the room and sat right across from me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I climbed onto Isabel's bed and asked her if people ever hallucinated when drunk, like hearing voices. Isabel was even more wasted than I was. She groaned, sprawled on the bed. Jenny, what'd you hear? I clutched my phone and whispered in her ear. I heard Luke's voice. Huh? Isabel squinted at me, drunk and confused. He said he wants to find a way to kiss me. She blinked a few times, then rolled over and promptly fell asleep. What does that mean? You don't believe me? Not saying that, Isabel mumbled. Go to sleep. We'll do it tomorrow. Do what? Daydream. Me? To prove it wasn't all in my head, Isabel dragged me downstairs at dawn to accidentally run into Luke. As soon as we reached the bottom of the dorms, we heard Benjamin complaining loudly, Why the hell are we eating in the farthest cafeteria from our dorm? He rubbed his eyes like a zombie. It's like 10,000 miles away. It's not that bad, Luke said calmly, his gaze drifting toward the girls' dorm nearby. The food's good here. Benjamin, is it though? Isabel and I both froze. We turned and saw them heading toward the cafeteria. Well, that was easy. Isabel grinned and yanked me toward them, waving. Benjamin? Morning. She and Benjamin were always in sync. He waved back just as playfully. Yo, what a coincidence. As she pulled me over, Isabel whispered, While we eat, see if you can hear anything. Before I could even ask how we were all going to eat together, Isabel charged ahead. What a coincidence. Want to eat with us? Benjamin was about to agree but glanced at Luke and hesitated. Nah, Luke's not big on eating with others. Next time. He patted Isabel's shoulder. Next time, for sure. Just as he finished, I caught Luke glancing my way out of the corner of his eye. I don't mind, he said calmly. Actually, I like eating breakfast with people. Benjamin. Even after we walked into the cafeteria, Benjamin looked dazed. He tugged on Luke's shoulder. Since when do you like eating with people? And with girls? Luke answered matter-of-factly. Since just now. Benjamin? Isabel and Benjamin ran off to their favorite food stalls. I stood behind Luke, silently resolving to eat whatever he picked. But he stood still, deep in thought. I finally spoke up. What are you getting? Luke looked up. Haven't decided yet. All right. After a brief pause, I decided to go get food first. The moment I moved, so did Luke. Step for step, he followed me to the same stall. He ordered the exact same breakfast, then sat down right across from me. Luke didn't say a single word, but his thoughts flooded into my ears. Want to eat the same thing as her? She looks so sweet. Gotta find a reason to eat with her again. I stared down at my food, ears burning. Afterward, Isabel leaned in and asked quietly, So? Did you hear anything? Yeah. Are you serious? Isabel's eyes widened. You can really hear Luke's inner thoughts? What was he thinking? I paused. He said I look sweet. Isabel? That he wants to find a way to eat with me again. Isabel? Girl, do you hear yourself? Isabel cried blasphemy. She was convinced my crush had gotten so bad it had messed with my brain, and she was ready to march me to the campus clinic. I mean, yeah, Luke didn't look like the kind of guy who'd say that stuff. I wouldn't believe it either if I hadn't heard it myself. But why was he trying so hard to get close to me? While I was still lost in thought, my phone buzzed. Isabel told me the results for the piano competition were out. I came in first. No surprise. Just as I was slipping my phone into my pocket, another buzz. A friend request. I saw a profile picture I knew all too well. Luke from the computer science department. I'd seen that profile on the campus confession wall for ages. Tons of people had tried to get his contact info. Word was, he rarely added anyone back. Luke didn't like adding people. I stared at the profile picture for a few seconds before cautiously accepting. My heart raced as I opened the chat with Luke. His message popped up right away. "Hey, I'm Luke. Benjamin said you're really good at piano. Could you maybe give me a quick lesson?" "I'm not very good." I gulped hard. Luke wanted me to teach him piano? Never in a million years did I think my hobby would be useful in romance. The piece Luke wanted to learn was simple. As he stared down at the sheet music, his expression was calm, which made me look like the one desperate to learn. I stiffly instructed him, "Your hands off. You can't rest all your fingers on top." "Oh, sorry." Luke looked down again and adjusted to an even worse position. He looked up at me. "Like this?" Not quite. His fingers were long, perfect for piano, but his hand positions were laughably off, like he was deliberately missing the mark. I sighed in frustration. Then, I caught him glancing up, eyes lowered again as he muttered, "Sorry, my hands are useless." "It's not your fault," I said quickly, waving my hand only for our fingers to touch. That's when it hit me. I could just adjust his hands manually. I looked at Luke and asked carefully, "Would you mind a little physical contact? You know, just for teaching purposes." Sure, we'd done worse that night at the party, but that was during a game. I'd heard Luke didn't like being touched. The moment I asked, I regretted it, already searching for another method until I saw Luke nod. "It's fine," he said, looking up at me gently. "I don't mind. Go ahead." It was strange. His face didn't change much, but I got the distinct feeling he was smiling, like that fleeting, barely there smile when our lips touched in the party room. The moment my fingers brushed his, a soft electric tingle shot from my fingertips through my whole body. My heart felt like it might leap right out of my chest. Technically, didn't this count as holding hands with my crush? I swallowed and forced myself to focus. Luke stared down at our overlapped hands, letting me correct him without a word. The room was silent. Then I heard it, Luke's inner voice, clear as day, holding hands. I froze mid-motion, stunned. I stared at his expressionless face. Luke noticed something was off. "What's wrong? What did you just say?" I hovered between asking directly or swallowing it back. In the end, I chose the latter. "Nothing. I've never taught anyone before. I don't have much experience." "That's fine," Luke replied. "Just tell me what to do, and I'll do it." "Okay." When we finished the first run through, I finally exhaled. Luke's fingers still hovered above the keys, tapping randomly. The sound of his tapping was soon joined by his thoughts. Now I have a legit excuse to eat with her. I stiffly turned my head, and sure enough, Luke looked up at me with a calm tone. "You're a great teacher. Let me buy you a meal to thank you." My heart was a mess. Something felt off about my longtime crush. Things that seemed perfectly normal on the surface now felt premeditated. Deliberate, like he'd been planning this whole time to get close, to insert himself into my life. After a full day of classes, a classmate near the window suddenly cursed. "Shit, it's pouring!" And of course, I didn't bring an umbrella. I looked up. Sure enough, rain poured down. The weather forecast had lied again. I clenched my teeth. I hadn't brought one either, and Isabel didn't show up today. When the bell rang, students with umbrellas left first. Those without doubled up with friends. In no time, the hallway emptied out. I stood at the door, gloomily hoping the rain would stop, when a voice popped into my head. "Cold rain. I wonder if she brought an umbrella. If not, perfect excuse to pick her up. If she did, I'll ditch this one in my hand." Instinctively, I looked toward the crowd, and sure enough, there was Luke, walking over with an umbrella. The computer science building wasn't far from here. As I looked at him, he looked back, sharp as ever. His eyes scanned me, noticed I had no umbrella, and he visibly relaxed. "What a coincidence," he said. "Coincidence?" I stared blankly as he approached, then tilted the umbrella heavily in my direction. He glanced down and asked, "I happened to be passing by. Want to share? Happened to pass by?" "But," I pointed hesitantly, "isn't your dorm that way?" "Oh," Luke answered smoothly. "The food here's better. I came to grab dinner." The rain crackled on the umbrella. My heart crackled too. Luke's thoughts joined the noise. "Why's she dressed so light? Isn't she cold?" "Wind's strong today. Should remind her." Ugh, I'm so naggy. I silently listened, sneaking a glance at the expressionless guy next to me. So there really were people with two faces perfectly disguised. The rain kept falling for days, yet Luke always found some excuse to share an umbrella with me. He'd tilt it slightly in my direction each time. We were so close. I curled my fingers, holding it in as long as I could. Then I finally asked, "Do you always show up near our building like this by chance?" Luke paused ever so slightly, then turned to me. "You think it's a coincidence too? Don't you?" "I do," he nodded casually. "Maybe it's fate." Then he lowered his eyes to me, voice soft. "What do you think?" I looked away in silence. Seeing him act so composed made me wonder if I exposed the fact that I could hear his thoughts. What kind of expression would appear on that usually cold face? Sure enough, the next morning I saw Luke and Benjamin again, trekking all the way to the 8th cafeteria. Benjamin had his hands in his pockets. No complaints this time. "You know what? I get it now. I finally understand why you insist on eating here." Luke glanced sideways at him, signaling him to go on. I followed his gaze. "You're right," Benjamin said, clapping his hands. "The food here's way better than ours. Let's just eat here every day from now on." Luke nodded in agreement. "Sounds good." During breakfast, Isabel and I sat on one side while they sat across, discussing Benjamin's upcoming birthday. He loved a crowd, and so did Isabel. They were busy listing who to invite. When they mentioned a guy from Luke's class, who'd been silent the whole time, suddenly spoke up. "Not him." "Huh?" Benjamin blinked mid-sentence. "Why not?" "Don't like him," Luke replied flatly. "If he comes, I'm not going." Okay. Benjamin nodded and crossed the name out, then paused, sensing something off. "Wait, this guy wanted to come to that truth or dare party too, didn't he?" "And you said no." "Yeah." Luke nodded coldly. "Why not let him? The more, the merrier. And it's not like he's done anything to you." Benjamin took a bite of his bun, then narrowed his eyes and leaned in. "You're acting weird," Luke answered simply. "He annoys me." After breakfast, I kept thinking about that guy's name. It felt familiar somehow until Isabel suddenly smacked her thigh and looked serious. "Jenny, something just hit me." "What?" She scrolled through her phone and pulled up a contact. I glanced at the name. It was the very same guy from the computer science department that Luke had just eliminated from the guest list. "Why do you have him on WeChat?" Isabel squinted at me. "You seriously don't remember? I told you about him." "Doesn't ring a bell." Isabel narrowed her eyes. "He used to have a thing for you." "Hmm?" Luke hadn't asked me for a piano lesson in a while. I only realized he wasn't around when I ran into Benjamin after class. Isabel circled him curiously. "Why are you by yourself?" "My bro went to a talent show." "A talent show?" Benjamin stuffed his hands in his pockets and lowered his voice. "He didn't want anyone to know. But we're tight, so I'll let you in on it. He went to play piano. Some kind of competition. He's insanely good. I'll sneak a video next time. No one else knows." I didn't catch anything after that. The words "insanely good at piano" just kept echoing in my head. I opened my phone and scrolled back to our first chat. "Luke, Benjamin said you're good at piano. Could you teach me a little?" "I'm not very good." My mind went blank. Luke was back. I was sitting by the window when I glanced down and saw Luke standing below. No matter which gate he entered from, this place wouldn't be on his way. He leaned against the wall, holding an ornate box. So sunny. How long? Until class ends. Wanna see her. His thoughts trickled into my ears, one by one. The more I listened, the hotter my ears felt. Isabel leaned in. You have a fever? No. Then why is your face so red? I looked away. Too sunny. While waiting for class to end, my eyes stayed fixed downstairs. Underneath Luke's aloof exterior was a mind full of chatter. He toyed with the box, thinking hard about how to casually but not awkwardly give it to me. Suddenly, he looked up. I followed his gaze and saw another guy approaching. Isabel frowned. Jenny, isn't that the guy who liked you? I heard he still hasn't given up. Is he trying to talk to you? Wait. Isabel's voice shot up. Why is Luke here? I leaned toward the window. The spot where he'd been standing was now empty. He had the box in hand and walked straight toward the guy. What was Luke doing talking to him? I strained to listen. Luke said, "What a coincidence." The guy looked a bit stiff, probably surprised Luke had approached him. He didn't respond right away, but Luke clearly wasn't interested in waiting. He glanced at him coolly and continued, You waiting on someone too? The guy hesitated. Too? You're waiting too? Yeah, I guess it is a coincidence. Luke twirled the box in his hands and nodded slightly. Waiting for my girlfriend. Since when did Luke have a girlfriend? I straightened up. The guy's face visibly changed. He couldn't help asking. Your girlfriend is, Luke replied calmly. Jennifer. The moment he said it, the guy's expression darkened. Luke gave him a side glance, like he hadn't noticed, and kept his tone flat. And you? Who you waiting for? The guy said nothing. Luke, wanna wait together? The guy still said nothing. Are you freaking serious? The guy walked away. Luke's brow arched slightly as he looked up, meeting my eyes at the window. Luke, when class ended, I rushed downstairs, ready to demand an explanation, but I ran too fast, tripped over my own feet, and was about to faceplant when a pair of hands caught me steady. Luke exhaled. You okay? Even though we'd spent quite a bit of time together, my heart still raced being this close. After standing up, Luke got straight to the point and pulled out the gift box he'd been holding. Inside was a beautifully delicate bracelet. Maybe it was the sunlight, or maybe not, but my face started burning the moment I stepped outside. I couldn't meet his eyes. I just stared and asked dumbly, Is this for me? Luke came up with a coincidence on the spot. Yeah, just saw it and thought it suited you. Then he paused, subtly testing the waters. What were you looking at earlier by the window? The view. Oh, he looked relieved. I was just passing by. Thought I'd bring this over. Yeah, right. I'm not buying it anymore. Luke kept a straight face as usual, but I was itching to call him out. As we walked, I suddenly asked, What have you been up to these days? Joined a competition, he replied. I stopped walking, ready to press him. What kind of competition? Luke froze. He didn't answer, but his thoughts drifted out. Why is her expression so weird? Why does my back feel cold? Outwardly, Luke stayed calm, carefully choosing his words. Just a small competition. Really? No. Yes. Luke. Oh, I nodded. A little piano competition, right? Luke was silent. Luke. I looked up at him and asked gently, So you can actually play piano? Luke looked slightly shaken but tried to stay calm. A little. But the piece you asked me to teach was beginner level. Yeah. Luke looked down. I just happened not to know that one. And your hand positions were all wrong. Luke. I forgot. He looked calm, but his mind was a mess. Crap. Please stop asking. Need to come up with a distraction. I followed his thoughts and said directly, Don't try to change the subject. Luke? Luke. I looked up at him. Why don't we talk? I laid it all out about the mind reading. For once, Luke's cold expression cracked. Mind reading? What do you mean? Since that truth, or dare kiss. I've been able to hear your thoughts." Luke looked stunned. "You can hear everything I think?" His face grew more blank, like he was suddenly remembering something horrible. He pressed his lips together, clearly struggling. "I don't believe you. I tried to prove it." "You thought?" But as soon as I started, Luke's whole body tensed. "Gotta find a way to kiss her again." He froze. His eyes slowly turned to me, filled with something unexplainable, like a buried secret had just seen the light of day. "And also," Luke swallowed expressionlessly, "find a reason to talk to her. Rainy day, no umbrella, perfect excuse to pick her up. If she has one, I'll ditch mine. And, Jennifer," Luke cut me off, stepping a bit closer. His voice dropped. "Enough. You win." Luke looked down at me. The boy I'd been crushing on had been secretly crushing on me too. That last party wasn't some random gathering, it was organized by Luke. Because a guy from the computer science department had a thing for me, Luke arranged the whole thing just to get closer to me. When that guy found out I was attending, he wanted in too, but Luke flat out kicked him off the list. Only Luke knew the real reason behind that party. Luke stood silently for a moment, then slowly lifted the bracelet from the box and gently fastened it around my wrist. After securing it, he finally said something genuine for once. "I picked this out a long time ago." Then, looking down at me, he asked softly, "Jennifer, can I pursue you?" Thump, 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 thump. My heartbeat exploded in my chest. The bracelet dangled on my wrist. I gulped hard, about to respond when suddenly, 2 loud shouts rang out behind us. "Holy shit!" Luke and I turned at the same time and saw Benjamin and Isabel standing there, shocked out of their minds. Isabel was the first to react. "Wait, who's chasing who here?" "Ha ha ha ha." I let out a dry laugh and scratched my head. Turns out the person I likes me back. "Isabel?" "Hold on!" Benjamin's voice rose as he rushed over. "Who did you like?" He scanned me up and down, squinting. "What the hell is going on?" It suddenly clicked for Benjamin. "You've had your eyes on my bro all this time." "I have," I admitted in a small voice. "I've liked him for a long time." "So you've been scheming?" Luke pulled Benjamin back a bit. "Don't scare her." "Whoa?" Benjamin glared. "You think you're off the hook? I've been suspicious of you for ages. What's with the sudden party idea? The whole eating together phase?" "All lies. You even kept it from me." Luke looked at his bro and silently smiled without denying a thing. "You even said the food at the 8th cafeteria was amazing." Benjamin fumed. "I've been waking up early for days for nothing." "Not really." Luke patted his shoulder. "Didn't you say it actually tasted good?" "Benjamin!" He fell silent, pulled out a cigarette from his pocket, and lit it solemnly. "Seeing your bro about to get a girlfriend hurts worse than being single yourself." After the two of them cursed their way into the cafeteria, Luke looked at me. He didn't say anything, but I could hear his thoughts loud and clear. What did she just say to Benjamin? Damn. I missed it. If only she'd say it again. People bustled past us. I leaned in quietly and repeated, "I said, I've liked you for a long time too." Luke blinked. "It's noisy." I didn't catch that. I leaned in even closer, so close I could see his eyelashes as he looked down at me. I whispered, I only got 2 words out before Luke suddenly leaned in. His breath brushed against me, and the next second, his warm lips were on mine. The kiss came so suddenly, but was incredibly gentle. My whole body tensed in his arms. My mind went blank. My heartbeat quickened with the kiss, until I was almost breathless. I heard him murmur with a smile in his voice. I heard it this time. I asked Luke when he'd first started noticing me. He held my hand, tilted his head as if thinking back. Guess, I thought for a moment. Freshman year? Luke shook his head. A bit earlier. Earlier? The only earlier I could think of was orientation day, because that was the day I first saw him too, in the crowd. But I didn't expect that Luke's earlier meant a long, long time ago. Back when I first started learning piano, my teacher had been Luke's mom. Luke said he noticed a little girl who always cried during practice, cried so loudly he couldn't concentrate on homework next door. He used to peek through the window to see which annoying kid kept bawling, then saw me stuffing candy into my pockets while bawling my eyes out. Now that he mentioned it, I did vaguely remember. That piano teacher was super kind. She used to hide candy around the room. What I didn't know was, it had been Luke's candy, and I had taken it all. Luke used to peek in often, just to see if the crybaby was still at it. He remembered that she wasn't just noisy, she was also really cute. He even tugged on his mum's sleeve and asked what her name was. He said the crying was kind of adorable, and that someday he wanted to see her cry every day. Later on, they started playing together. He clearly remembered that she had a heart-shaped birthmark on her wrist. Back then, he told her, "See this? This is my stamp. If you ever get lost, I'll use this to find you." But due to family circumstances, they were separated. The little girl moved away and stopped going to piano lessons. From that day on, he never saw her again. To comfort him, Luke's mum told him, "If you study hard and keep practicing piano, you'll see her again." Luke believed her. He believed it for over 10 years. But he said it wasn't just the comfort that kept him going. He believed in himself. He'd always had a strong intuition. He believed they'd meet again someday. And when he saw the name Jennifer during the freshman welcome event, he knew he'd finally found her. Benjamin's party was on a weekend. Isabel loved crowds and had gone out early with a big group. Luke and I planned to head over a little later, but by the time we arrived, the place was already buzzing. Over dinner, Isabel and Benjamin were rowdy as always. Benjamin was still holding a grudge against Luke. When I came back from the restroom, Benjamin had taken my seat and was aggressively pouring drinks for his bro. Isabel dragged me back to a seat and leaned in with a whisper. "So, how far have you two gotten?" "Any." She pouted and whispered. "Kiss, kiss?" "You totally have, right?" While Isabel teased me and Benjamin bickered with Luke, I sipped my drink and secretly peeked at Luke. He caught my glance instantly and raised an eyebrow. I followed his gaze as it dropped, landing right on my lips. Luke kept a calm face at the party, but the second his eyes fell, I heard his thoughts loud and clear. "So cute. Want a kiss?" I choked on my drink mid-sip and started coughing like crazy. "What's wrong?" Isabel smacked my back. "Jenny, what's gotten into you?" My face turned red from coughing. Luke leaned in, eyes innocent and confused. "Can you?" I gasped between breaths and muttered, "Stop thinking those things." "Sorry." He lowered his gaze, looking a little guilty. "I can't control it." After a pause, he added in a quiet voice, "I'll try." "Damn it." That made it sound even more suggestive. What are you two whispering about?" Isabel squinted at me suspiciously. "What kind of secret code are you speaking?" Benjamin smiled. "Ugh, is this another one of those sappy couple games?" "Huh, my eyes have seen too much. I thought that once Luke knew I could read his mind, he'd dial things back. But I soon realized how naive that idea Luke was, a little off. While working on some DIY crafts with Luke, I'd originally planned to give the first finished piece to Isabel. Luke sat silently off to the side, saying nothing, but his thoughts kept spilling out. Will she think of me first? As I looked up at him, he quickly cast his eyes down. It's fine if she doesn't. Luke didn't say a single word aloud, yet he'd said everything. With a blank face, I handed him what I'd made. "Here, for you." Luke raised his brows slightly, clearly surprised. "Didn't expect you to give it to me first. I'm really happy. If only she'd carve my name into it." Still expressionless, I took it back and added Luke to the back. "Thanks." Luke smiled, clearly in a great mood. I turned to go make Isabel's piece when someone tugged on my sleeve. Luke handed me his beautifully crafted sculpture. The word Jenny was engraved on it. "This is for you." Holding it in my hands, my heart bloomed with joy, but I kept a straight face. Luke gave me a sidelong glance. Why isn't she saying she loves it? She's just accepting it politely. I get it. I gritted my teeth. I love it, okay? Luke, could you please just say what you mean? Luke looked at me, bursting with frustration, and chuckled lowly. So, do you like it? I hugged the sculpture with Jenny carved into it tightly and replied sincerely, I really like it. Luke nodded at me. I really like you too. The sudden confession froze me in place. Luke leaned down, pulled me into his arms, and gently kissed me. His voice, low and slow, brushed against my ear. I've liked you for a long time.